The Miami Heat have gotten off to a slower start this season and are currently sitting with 3 wins and 4 losses and are on the outside looking in when it comes to the playoff race. The team is more or less the same team that went to the finals last season, but isn't quite looking the same, and as a result, they are currently a below 500 team. Should Miami Heat fans be worried about the team's lackluster start of the season? Keep watching to find out. Hit the like button if you are a basketball fan, subscribe if you're new, and welcome back to Hoop Reports. So, to be honest, I'm not worried at all about the Miami Heat, and you shouldn't either. Jimmy Butler did go on air though and said, "There's no excuses to not playing hard. The culture we say that we have, we aren't doing that. Nobody is. Not me, not Bam, nobody. We better figure it out real soon." Even after that though, I'm not worried and still think they'll make the playoffs and dominate like they did last season. The first sign I've had of not really worrying about the Heat was the rematch against the Bucks on December 30th. On the day before, the 29th, they were blown out against the Bucks 144-97, but on the very next day, without their best player in Jimmy Butler, they came back and won 119-108. The Heat are probably the best team in the league at adjusting to opponents to maximize mismatches, as evident from this game, plus all the postseason games we saw last year. Next off, it's still really early in the season, and I feel like the Heat are experimenting with a lot of different ways they can play together. Spoelstra said it himself, "The more important thing is us building consistency in how we want to play." After the Heat figure out the style they want to play this season and build upon that, they'll be just fine. Again, I'd rather have the Heat lose games now and figure that out early on in the season rather than down the line. The Heat currently are still one of the most well-rounded teams in the league, and in order to beat them, you actually have to beat them. You can't just stop 1 or 2 players and expect to win. The team has 7 players who average double figures in scoring this season. That's 7 players who can heat up, no pun intended, at any time during the season and do some serious damage on the scoreboard. Recently, in a survey amongst all general managers, Erik Spoelstra was voted as the best NBA coach currently and received 46% of all votes. He was also voted as the best motivator of people and received 32% of all votes here. When it comes to the coach who makes the best in-game adjustments, he received 26% of all votes. He surprised the league last year as he coached a 5th-seeded team to a Game 6 in the NBA Finals against 2 of the best players in the world in LeBron James and Anthony Davis. The one thing though that does worry me this year for the Heat are the trade rumors that they have about acquiring James Harden and having to give up their young promising talents such as Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson. As much of a superstar James Harden is, the reason why the Miami Heat played so well last year was because of team chemistry on both ends of the floor. They played just stellar offense and defense, and if you watched some of the playoff games, it was just beautiful to watch. Everybody was in constant motion working towards one goal. If they add James Harden into the mix, it would change a big part of the Heat's current identity, and they'd probably be worse off. Also, for the young talents, having a trade rumor lurking in the background is never good for growth and chemistry. The Heat this season have shown flashes of their potential. Against Boston, they were down 10 points with 1 minute left in regulation and stormed back to tie the game 105-105. But unfortunately, at the last second, they lost the game. Against OKC, the Miami Heat in the third quarter went on a 20-0 run and won the game. So, they've shown flashes of their potential, and I'm confident that as the season continues, these flashes will become ordinary. Just remember, this is the same squad that dispatched a good Indiana Pacers team last year, 4-0. As good as the Pacers were, 45-28 with a win percentage of 61.6% and a hot TJ Warren who caught fire during the bubble games, the Heat were able to completely overwhelm them when the games actually counted. This is also the same squad that easily dispatched the reigning 2-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo 4-1 in the second round. The Bucks last season had a 56-17 record and a win percentage of 76.7%, which led the league and the Heat were still able to easily dispatch them in the playoffs when things mattered most. Should Heat fans be worried about their slow start this season? Not at all. It's too early, way too early. Remember, this team was dealing with injuries and was just going to war with the Lakers just a few short months ago. They didn't have much time to rest up physically and mentally. As long as they get into the playoffs, they'll be fine, and I'm confident that they will string together a lot of wins sooner or later and be seeded somewhere between 5 and 7, which is perfect. Some Heat fans online agree that there is nothing to worry about. Let's take a look at what they are saying. Number 1. The Miami Heat are a playoff team, not a regular season team. How many times do I have to say this? Number 2. I said it last year and I'll say it again. Never doubt Jimmy. Number 3. Once the playoffs come around, I know Miami will be ready and prepared. Remember, they were the 5th seed last season. What the Heat actually need to do is currently make sure they're healthy going into the playoffs. Jimmy Butler, Goran Dragic, and Bam Adebayo all had some sort of injury from the playoffs last year until now. Making sure they're all injury-free going into the playoffs is going to be very important if they do hope to repeat their success last season. In addition, developing their younger players into their full potential is another area the Heat need to improve in order to do better in the playoffs. Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and Precious Achiuwa all have massive potential, and I'm sure Erik Spoelstra and the rest of the coaching staff understand how important each individual is going to be in the championship quest. The Heat do have some good games coming up soon that will test their potential, and I'm sure they'll be dialed in, and we'll be reminded just how good the Miami Heat actually are. On the 12th and the 14th of January, they'll be faced off against the current top team in the East, the Philadelphia 76ers. More than the first game though, I'm excited to see Erik Spoelstra make his tactician changes in the second game. Following that, the Miami Heat will be playing against the duo of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving of the Brooklyn Nets on the 23rd and 25th of January. Recently, Kevin Durant has been exposed to COVID and is out for a few games, but he should be back real soon. Kyrie Irving also missed a game recently for personal reasons and apparently ghosted his coach Steve Nash up until tip-off in a recent game, but hopefully he'll be in suit when the Nets match up against the Heat. I'm sure Jimmy Butler already has these games circled on his calendar, and although I said that they are a playoff team, I'm sure that he and the whole Miami Heat organization are going to want to test their potential against some of the top teams in the league, and I expect a lot of fireworks in those games. The Brooklyn Nets are currently the number 3 scoring team in the whole league, and the 76ers currently sit number 1 in the whole entire league, so if there's any time to test your identity, these games would be it. What do you think of the Miami Heat this season? Are you worried, or are you confident they'll become more and more dominant as the season continues, and especially in the playoffs? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.